Well, hello again, my friends, and welcome once more to the Invisible College. Now, I've got some really good news for you today. I think it's good news. I hope you agree with me. I'm going to reorganize the college somewhat and bring it more into line with my original intention. You see, I had big intentions for this college. I still do, actually. But of course, before I can put any of that into action, I had to grow the seed corn, as you might say, in YouTube. And I've had to put all my efforts into that to grow that channel, because that's the way I can reach more people worldwide. It's how all of you have come into the college this way. But now we've reached a point where I think we can start to organize it rather differently and do it more according to my original intention. Now then, at the moment we have sort of three categories of people on Patreon. The first category you have, you've recruited yourselves on Patreon. They set this up without consulting me or anyone else, that you could be a member of the college just by signing up to it. Well, that's not actually the case for the college itself. There are bands within the college, and it costs you so much per month. And I set those charges up very deliberately because it's very necessary for the work to progress for you to take a decision to actually support it. Even if it's only £5 a month, you do actually need to take the decision to actually support it. So I regard people, thank you for coming along and liking my work and wanting to sort of clap it and say, hooray, we really like this. But at the moment you're sitting at the door, at the gates of the college. You're not actually in it. You're friends of the college, we can call you, but you're not actually members of it. Membership begins at the bronze level, and then there's the silver level. I call these the pawn level for the bronze level. I use chess terms, not any kind of sexual implications to this. PAWN, as in chess. And then we have the knights level, or the silver. We've got the barons level, the equivalent of the castles. We haven't got any of those at the moment. And we have the royal level, and we've got one member at the royal level, and I'm not talking about myself. So we are, at a point now where we can begin to grow the embryo to be rather larger than it has been. And for that purpose, I'm now going to change the way that the college works. I'm going to start with the bronze level. Now, you're already getting newsletters and the occasional videos, and that's going to continue. You probably won't see much of a change, actually, within this. That's my intention, to include you into newsletters and also to have some videos that are the college videos, not put on YouTube for everyone to see, but are private ones that you'll be included into. I'm going to differentiate the next level, the Knights level. I regard the Knights as being like my round table. Anyone can have a round table, can't they? You don't have to be King Arthur. But they're the people that I feel have taken most interest and support for the college. Not least because they're paying twice as much per month as the pawn level. But that's a reflection of valuation of the work I'm doing, and it's still incredibly cheap, and you're getting the real stuff. You're getting I'm going to differentiate the Knights level with more practical applications of the work. You see, it's one thing to enjoy watching my videos on YouTube. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. It was an hour's well spent. I enjoyed that. It was fun. And new ideas, and I really enjoyed having those new ideas. That's one way of approaching this college. And that's fine. That's actually fine, because you will gradually, through that, create what's called a magnetic center, to use a Gurdjieff term, Gurdjieff-Uspensky term, which will help you to orientate towards, like a lodestone, pointing towards finding the truth. But you could go so much further. That's a very superficial way of dealing with these ideas. Watching a video and then you're onto a bit of politics, and then maybe some Scooby-Doo, or I don't know whatever interests you, some cartoons, or more news, whatever. That's a very fragmented way of dealing with this information that I've been putting out, this huge jigsaw puzzle of ideas. And if you look through the lists of the programs I put on YouTube, the free ones, there are over 150, and they go into all sorts of different subjects. And if you don't go into the college itself, you won't see how those really connect one to another. They'll just remain fragmented pieces of the puzzle, fragments of an unknown teaching, as Uspensky would put it. But when you come into the college itself, into the beginner level, the bronze level, you'll start to see how these things become organized, and the ideas become organized together to form themes. And the themes are like when you do a jigsaw puzzle, there might be people in it, a coach or two, or maybe a boat or a house. These are different themes that you look for pieces of the puzzle that look a bit like that. It's the same kind of wood like that house had, or the same colour of dress that woman there is wearing. And you put these bits together and you gradually build these themes, but they're still fragmented, they're still not connected one to another, and you haven't got a picture in the box to look at to see how these things are going to fit together. I have, but you haven't got that. So the college will gradually help you to put the themes together to show you the overall picture. And that's kind of what goes on at the bronze level, at least as far as building up the individual themes. But then at the knights level, we're connecting all the themes together, and then I'm giving teachings, very esoteric teachings actually, extremely esoteric. You won't normally find these talked about, or if you do, you find them talked about in fragments again. So it doesn't make much sense, and it doesn't fit together, and you probably read something and you get bored with it and throw it away because it wasn't making much sense, because you hadn't got the keys. A good example of this is alchemy. People are fascinated by alchemy, but they look at it and they look at the pictures in the books and they think, what the heck is this all about? And they read the text and it's really boring. And they say, well, yeah, there's probably something there, but these guys, they didn't know what we know. We know about the periodic table. We know about, chemistry. We don't need to be looking at this 17th century nonsense from before people understood things. They didn't know anything about orbitals or electrons going in orbitals around nuclei. They didn't know anything about that, so forget that. Study chemistry instead. Well, that's because you don't understand what they're talking about. And you don't understand what they're talking about because they didn't want you to understand what they're talking about unless you had reached a certain level. And when you've reached a certain level, then it all becomes kind of clear. But you won't reach that level unless you search for it. So if you're sort of laid back, just put on another video for me, that's not searching for it. That's being spoon-fed. I've got my mouth open, put the spoon in, will you? That's not going to get you anywhere long term, because what we are in toto, you could say, this is an esoteric school, a real esoteric school. And I say that because I've done real esoteric work and it's produced results for me. I don't talk about it to everyone you know, in the street or when I'm dealing with people, family, friends, or whatever. I don't talk about these subjects because that's my private inner life. And I'm sharing it with you on the basis that you are the people who want to know about these things, who want to do something. You're my kind. That's what I'm looking for out there in the world, my kind. And you're probably like me. You have been searching a long time. Now you've found it, but you need to recognize that you've found it. And this is essentially a Christian esoteric school. It's not Buddhist. It's not Islam. It's not Taoism or Zoroastrianism or paganism, neo-paganism. It's nothing of that. It's Christian, and for that reason, I'm wearing a Christian cross. It's actually a Jerusalem cross. And I noticed that Trump, you know, love him or hate him, he's a major figure of our times. He's choosing his senior officers for his cabinet, we would call it in England. And one of the guys he's nominated is someone called Pete Hegseth, I think that's his name. And I saw a picture of him in his swimming trunks going out of a swimming pool. Actually looked very muscular, but he had an enormous Jerusalem cross emblazoned on his chest. And I thought to myself, yes, is he perhaps a Knight of the Holy Sepulchre? Because that's actually their badge. The cross I'm wearing is actually the same. It's the cross of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. And I bought this actually in Egypt. I'm not a member of the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre. That's a Catholic order under the Pope now, but it was a crusading order, like the Knights Templars. The Knights Templars weren't the only crusading order. You had the Knights of St. John Hospital, known as the Hospitallers. They were, the rivals of the Templars, but there were lots of other orders too. The Knights of the Holy Sepulchre were one of them. So, with that digression aside, actually, the Christian way has always been here, and it's not necessarily of this world. I'll just leave it at that. It's something that is guided from above, and it manifests over and over again. And Gurdjieff was one such person who was teaching this, and so was Robert Flood back in the 17th century. And those two people I've talked about quite a lot in my lectures, and I'm going to talk about them more in due course. So the basis of the Christian pathway, and I'm being very kind of stripping it right down to its essentials, is the need for you and me in this life to build the body of light, what you might call your soul. It exists as a seed in you when you're born, but that seed has to be nourished and grown and manifested into what he calls the body of light, or the wedding garment is another term he uses for it, or the pearl of great value, or the oil in the lamp, the virgins with the lamps. You've got to have the oil in the lamp, and you've got to have spare oil. You're waiting for the bridegroom to come. If you read the Gospels, you know what I'm talking about. So this is what the Christian path is really all about, and people prancing around in fancy costumes and waving incense and carrying candles and doing all that. That's lovely theatre, but at essence, it's something internal that you've got to do, and it is a kind of alchemy. Call it Christian alchemy if you like. It's a kind of alchemy that you have to do, and it involves various techniques and various methods and things you have to give up actually as well, to begin to generate the body of light. And the word for light in Latin is astra or aster. It's like stars, isn't it? They're lights. So your body of light is what's commonly called in esoteric terms your astral body, your body of light. And if you're going to do this physical body I've got and you've got, that is going to age and die. You know this, you know. There's no one around here that's very much over, say, 110, 120. They've all gone, haven't they? All the First World War people have all gone. All the Victorians, they've all gone. Might be one or two First World War people still around, but not many. The generations move through, and and new generations are born, and they age, and then they die, and then meanwhile other generations have been born. That's how it works in the physical world. But when you die, it's very different. If you die having developed your body of light, your astral body, than if you haven't. And that's one of the main purposes, main purpose of the church should be to help people do that. Instead, what they do is social work, and that's not what they're here for. Yes, there should be social work, but that should not be the focus of the church, or the church is. The focus should not be, yes, you should be helping your fellow man, you should be praising God, but you also should be engaged in this inner alchemy that's going to transform or build your soul body, your astral body. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on with the nights in particular. I'm going to be teaching here a course, and I'm going to do it step by step. In each step I will be putting a video onto YouTube as a private video, and only those who have their names, their email addresses recorded as allowed to access that video will be able to access it, and that will be only the people who are at the night level or above. So I'm doing this differently from the way I have been doing things, and if you join the nights later, then you'll have to do the course again in order. You won't have access to all of the videos at once, because I want you to work through this step by step, and we're now going to be engaged in actual work of the esoteric school as opposed to the theory. All we've been doing up till now has been theory. It's very important theory, and I hope you've enjoyed it and got something from it. But now we're going to go into the actual work. So if you're watching this, and I'm going to put this out on general release actually on YouTube. If you've been watching this and you've never come across me before, have a look at some of my videos and see if this is something that might appeal to you. If you're sitting at the gate wondering, shall I, shan't I, do I care? Well, it's up to you. You can come and join us. You can join us at the bronze level, which is the pawn level, or you can actually leapfrog that if you want and come and join at the knights level. It's up to you. But now you know where this is going and how this works. And if you're at the bronze level, now might be a good time for you to consider upgrading and moving to the knight level, because that's where the real esotericism begins. So there we have it. I hope you find this useful, and go carefully, and God be with you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.